Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Brad O'Loughlin here. We're on The Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and I am super proud today to have a back-to-back interview with my boss, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. A little bit about me here first is that I'm a writer, I'm an author, I'm a TV host, I'm a speaker, do lots and lots and lots of things. But part of my early, also 31 years in the military, but I also fell in love with chemistry way back when in high school. And I use that to research the human body at the cellular level. When I was involved in corporate, I was a failure analysis kind of guy in one aspect. I was in many, many different parts, but part of my reliability engineering background dealt with why did that fail? Okay, why did that happen? And okay, well, why did that thing? And so I ended up going into these why-to things all over the place. And so you try to figure out. So I started changing my viewpoint from what happened to root cause analysis. And so nowadays I take my knowledge of chemistry and I start looking inside the human body at the cellular level. What's happening in the body, from a biological, from a chemical perspective, that can be translated, that people need to know so they can make good decisions. They can go to their doctor and say, hey doc, what about this? And so I write on what helps and what makes things worse. So you have a little bit of perspective. I used to say I write, health and wellness, but nowadays I'm starting to transition into saying I write decision support manuals for old people, for aging people, for those people who want to take better care of themselves. So that's a little bit about me. Let me jump in right now and say, Dr. Jacalyn, please join me back up here with my friend over my shoulder. I think you have one also.
Listen, babe, now. 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 Listen, babe, now.
Hello, Red. Thanks for having me.
Give me less than 5 seconds and I'll be right back at you.
Welcome, everyone, to The Wise Ones. It's a pleasure to be here today. Happy New Year, wherever you are in the world. Right here where I am, it's January 1st, 2026. So I'm super excited to be Red's guest. Let's bring him back.
I just happen to have a momentary glitch on my Wi-Fi. It seems to be happening more often here this morning. I don't know why, but anyway, I had to do something. Anyway, we're back. Thank you very much, Dr. Jacalyn. And I was mentioning our friends over our shoulders, The Wise Ones. A show that we've been part of forever and ever and ever. Our segment today is about Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, owner, founder, listening mentor of the USA Global TV and Radio Network. When you started this thing a few years ago, what was your, let's say, 5-year goal when you first started, and what is your 5-year goal today?
Thank you, Red. When I first started, it was really a hobby. And I was working in corporate and I was asked to do a radio show, audition for a radio show, which I did. It was called Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, The Drive, live at 5. And then I had an in-person TV show at a studio in New Jersey and had the same name. And then the pandemic hit, and then I was taking care of my mother, and she had dementia. So I was literally in the house most of the time. So at the time, I didn't really have a plan because it was just a hobby. But the goal at the time was to give as many people who had ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease a place to share their story, because I have ulcerative colitis. I was diagnosed in 1991. And so the show, which was Stories of Adversity, Overcoming Adversity, it was booked for over a year, the TV show and also the radio show. And so at that point, I thought, okay, it seems like people are really interested in this. And then I had people come to me and say, well, can I do a show with you? And so then I was co-hosting with people. And then someone came to me and said, how much would it be to have a show with you? And I thought, aha, I have something here that is going to be turned into a business. So my 5-year goal, I'm already on the plan, which is to make this platform almost autonomous, meaning that I am not needed to be running everything. And although it's an honor and it's a privilege as a business owner, if you really have a successful business, it can't just be about you. So hence, that's why we changed the name from anything to do with Dr. Jacalyn to USA Global TV and Radio. And so my goal, my vision is to have this platform running in different languages, which I said to you last year. And lo and behold, we have shows in English, German, and French, which is kind of cool. We actually have 2 shows in German, soon to be a 3rd one. And we have 1 show in French, soon to be a 2nd show. So I'd like to have as many languages as possible. So we're looking for more TV show hosts to come on from different parts of the world and to host their own content. And ultimately, I would like to start submitting our platform for awards. So in addition to the YouTube Silver Creator Award that we earned, there's other awards that we could potentially be up for, but you have to actually submit and request to be considered.
I'm hoping to be one of those people that can get you a Spanish and Asian show. So I'm working on that. And it's just that things happen. Life gets in the way. I'm just going to leave it at that. But that's my goal for this coming year, is to focus on those 2 things to make the growth a little bit more I'd hate to use the word diverse, but it kind of is in this particular case, but multinational. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Red.
Okay, so you have the network, and you have how many shows per month right this moment?
That I don't have my information because I'm traveling, but we actually I have a whole lineup for this year, and we have new shows that are coming on board. So ask me later. Ask me in a future episode, and I'll let you know definitively, because we're still working out the programming.
Okay, last time that I heard a number was 62. Is that still fairly close?
Well, we've had 3 people retire. So those people they were hosting their own shows. Dr. Madeline Chan has retired, Caroline Heward has retired, and Diane Floyd Bame has retired.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just found out about Diane yesterday. So their shows are still available on the YouTube playlists. And then we have some new people who are coming on board with their own shows.
Interesting. I didn't realize you had such a major retirement day.
Yes.
Interesting. Anyway, where do people find the USA Global TV and Radio Network? What platforms?
We are currently broadcasting right now to both of our YouTube channels. We're broadcasting to LinkedIn and to 5 Facebook pages. And then, of course, we're broadcasting to your Facebook pages. And then some of our shows, as you know, because your Talking Heads show is on E360, which is a distributor, and they take us out over LG, Samsung, Android devices, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And all of our shows are also on our own Amazon Fire as well. And then after the shows are over, they get turned into edited clips, and they appear on TikTok, Instagram, plus all the other platforms. And then they get uploaded to the podcast platform. So you can typically find them on Spotify and any of the major platforms for podcasts.
Almost sounds like you have things worked out.
Well, it's kind of interesting because I'm very structured, and I spend about 91 hours a week working, which I don't really consider working, but I really have things down to it's almost like I'm a robot. I know exactly what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And I've actually made training videos to share with other people, and I'm training people to be producers, and it's not as easy as you would think. So some of them have had a number of training classes, and they still need some more training, which is great. So yes, I've got a system for pretty much everything.
Well, I've been on a couple of your shows where I've just been truly amazed. You're sitting in a restaurant in Greece. It's a late afternoon, evening, and here I am being broadcast to the world, sitting there just talking to you, and all you have is your cell phone in front of you, and you're taking across the world. Here is a TV show.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that, does it?
No, and I have to share, and you know this, but in the time that I was taking care of my mother, major things happened on a Thursday, and your 3 shows are on a Thursday. So as you saw, we were actually producing content from the emergency room, from her hospital bed, from the palliative care doctor, and on the day that she actually died. So it is amazing to be able to bring the stories and content that we have to people all over the world. And I know you and I are very committed. We're very professional in what it is that we do, and the show must go on.
So if you have a podcast out there right now, you're doing the video, you're editing, you're uploading it. The next step is maybe live TV, and Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK is probably one of the better people you need to contact. So throw that in the back of your mind, and make sure you at least ask her questions, because it might be something that you can discuss with her on a show, and maybe even be part of this network. And who knows, 2 years from now, you may have your own network.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Red. Yes. As you know, because you've been with me since almost the beginning. I think there was a little period of time because you were introduced to me through someone else. But most of the people who have been here from the beginning are still here. Now, we just had 3 people, Madeline, Diane, and Caroline, all decide that they were going to focus on different aspects of their life. And so we wish them well, but we love when people come here because they usually stay. It gets to be in your blood. And it's something that you realize you have an incredible ability to provide education to people, and it will be a legacy that is out there for as long as the platforms are out there. And of course, we have all the content. It's all downloaded. So if something were to ever happen, we had to start all over again, we already have the content.
Diane was one that introduced me to you. And then I think I ended up taking over her show, The Corner Bookstore. And so a lot of things happen in our lives, and then so The Corner Bookstore was one, but I was a guest on your show. I think we talked about how to write a book and publish it for free. And so that you and I connected from a business perspective of being an author, book coach, publisher. And then I ended up being in the Corner Bookstore, and then into the Wise Ones, and then into Talking Heads. And so it's interesting how everything evolves, but you have I'm going to say you have a very definitely a worldwide audience. Let's talk about that. On the USA Global TV and Radio Network, what are some of the demographics?
Well, so we have our 2 YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Radio, and also Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. And I've shared this, that both of the channels have completely different audiences, which is very interesting. So on the Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK channel, most of our audience is from the US and the UK. And then on USA Global TV and Radio, the audience is from all different places. So we have people watching from Iraq, from Vietnam, from Russia, from the UK, from Australia, from Portugal. It's very diverse. And of course, every month it can be changing. So we really appreciate people tuning in. And when I was just in London, I shared this before, but it's kind of interesting. I almost feel like I'm a celebrity when I'm there. People want to get to meet me. They want me to sign autographs. And then when I went to London and met a whole new group of people, and they shared the fact, one person said to me that this network is going to be the next Fox. So I don't know about that. And we're not getting political, but just the fact that what we offer here is something that's completely different because it's based on elevated listening. And so, as you know, as one of my team members and friends, you take courses with me, and we all work together on how can we improve our listening skills and how can we find a place of peace.
I may be wrong in my memory, but is it true that the majority of the audience in the USA Global platform is more female and the Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK is male. Did I remember that correctly?
That was the case. I'm actually going to be doing the analytics for the year because the year just closed. So we'll be looking at what are the actual demographics for the year and which were the top performing, the most viewed broadcasts. So I'll be able to put that out into the public domain very soon.
I'm surprised you don't have that available January 1st. That just floors me. Anyway.
Well, because what did I do last night? I went out for a few hours. I don't typically go out, but I went out. And so that would have been the time I would have been working on it. But I do know which shows were the top shows for the year. I do have that information. But, and you and I have the top show, which is really nice.
Oh, that's interesting. I was not aware of that.
Yes.
The award you mentioned on the last show on the Corner Bookstore, let's talk about that. It's sitting there right off your right ear and mine. What is that and how did you get it?
That is called the YouTube Silver Creator Award. And so YouTube has various awards, which I wasn't even aware of. And someone told me about it. I'm going to bring up our award-winning channel on YouTube. This is USA Global TV and Radio, and you can see the award there. That is for surpassing 100,000 subscribers. And I actually have the award framed. I'm going to be taking a better picture of it because that's our business card there at the bottom. But we had to have 100,000 subscribers. And that doesn't mean that if you have 100,000 subscribers that you're eligible for the award. There are certain criteria in terms of what kind of content you are broadcasting. So every time we upload something to YouTube, we have to answer a series of questions about what is the content. And so the questions could be, is there any violence in it? Is there any sexual innuendo? Is it political? And so you have to go through each of these and put if it is or it's not. And then YouTube will determine whether or not after the fact you actually answered correctly. And based on that, then they will allow or not allow advertising. So we actually met all the criteria, but something happened, which I think is really important to share. If you use content from someone else and you don't have permission, and even, by the way, getting permission, that's a whole other story, you could have a copyright infringement. And so we actually had that happen on this channel, whereby I was actually on the show with one of our TV show hosts. She was expecting a guest who actually lived, I think it was with the gorillas or the baboons. And the person was living in Africa near where the host was, and they were going to be doing the show together. And the person wasn't able to make it. So the TV show host found the documentary that was done, I believe, by NBC, and they shared the YouTube video that was NBC's documentary. And so what happened during that time, Red, when we were broadcasting, I was getting emails from YouTube to say, shut it down. And of course, I couldn't read the emails because I'm hosting and producing the show. And then the screen just went black. And so we were shut down for a week. And so that was a pretty traumatic thing for me at the time, because when you have all of your eggs in one basket, you don't know what's. So steps have been taken since then, hence why we have all the files downloaded and why we have a second channel. And so anyway, right before we were eligible to earn the YouTube Silver Creator Award, one of the other networks, which shares a show with us, a network outside of the US, they put in a claim that 4 of the TV episodes that we had we were not authorized to be streaming them. And so I had actually been to the TV station in this other country, and I'd met with the people, and I was completely shocked. So it was a mistake. There was 200 videos that were shown by a number of different platforms, and they put the 4 in there. And so I was doing everything I could to get them to retract it, to write a letter, but everything with YouTube seemingly is done by bots. And so it ended up, they wrote the letter, they wrote the email, and then finally they took off the claims and put the videos back up, and then we were eligible again. And so less than 1% of all YouTube channels in the world, from my understanding, have the Silver Creator Award.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for your help to do it.
We're getting real close to a commercial break, so let's plan on that here in the next few seconds, get the commercial break done. I want to come back and talk about what kind of content is available on the USA Global TV and Radio Network.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to break.
In a noisy world, true connection begins with listening. Elevated listening transforms every conversation in just 5 simple steps. Pause and breathe. Set your intention. Listen with curiosity. Reflect back. Agree on one next step. Join the listening mentor on Let's Finally Talk with Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, the listening mentor, where we help you find inner peace, one conversation at a time. Streaming every day, Let's Finally Talk TV show with Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, only here on USA Global TV and Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channels to watch and engage with all our content.
Brett O'Loughlin here on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and our show today is called The Wise Ones. And I have one of the wisest people that I know, Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, the owner, founder, and chief listening mentor for the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Dr. Jacalyn, please join me back up here on stage.
Thank you, Red. I'm so used to being on the other side of the screen. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the interview.
You have a lot of different shows. I do a show on authors and books in the book industry. The show we're doing today is on business owners, entrepreneurs, lessons learned in life. We've had all sorts of people on here. And then I do my own show called Talking Heads, which I focus on health and wellness, longevity, age-related issues. That's 3 of dozens that you have. What kind of content is really available to the cat? I wonder what else is on the show. What kind of content do you have?
Well, I'll just show some of the graphics just quickly. So we have the Persistence Payoff show with Kimberly Schaefer. We also have our German show, Der Mutmacher Talk. And there's another show coming in German, as I mentioned. We have Authentic Achievements. We have Iconic Women. We have the show that I host every day, and there's a different topic. We also have, let me find them, A Woman's Prerogative. We have a new show that's starting. I wanted to start it last year, but it's called Couture Treasures, where people can actually sell their things. We have Dementia Home Care. We have our French show, La Voix de la Garrison. I also host a show called Judgment, the Hidden Sin. And we have one more episode of this show coming, Royally Confidential. We've got a number of shows. Let me see. I have more graphics. We've got You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul with Justin Rigliani. And he's coming out with another show. Also, it's a sports-related show, so look for that soon. We have Intentional Productivity Tips with Megan. We also, as I mentioned, with the Woman's Prerogative, we have a second episode that's coming. Caroline's retired, and now Reverend Liddy and I will be doing it, as well as I'm doing the episode with Mariska Dupria. So there's some of the show graphics that we have. And then we have some of our longtime shows. We have some new shows that are coming. So we have a lot of different content for people. And as I mentioned, other languages as well.
And you forgot one of the more controversial ones.
Oh, Saving America.
Yes.
Yeah. So some of the shows are produced by our team. So their show graphics are not up here because there's no real reason to put them up because they're doing them themselves. But we also have Maggie, the substitute teacher, who does food and femininity. And we have Dear James, who does weekly wisdom and insights. And he also has a second show. And I know there's some others, but I'm taxing my brain to think of them.
We need to mention David Shine because that's the one on Saving America.
Yeah, Dr. David D. Shine.
Okay, so that kind of gives the audience awareness that we're in culture, in food, in politics, in health and wellness. It spans, and then on your show, it's whatever the topic du jour is, right?
Well, all of my topics on Let's Finally Talk are based on elevated listening. So that could be elevated listening to your body, elevated listening to your neighbor, to yourself, to your intuition.
Have you talked to anybody yet about having a show in Klingon?
No, not yet. No one's approached me about that yet, but I actually been holding a number of interviews with people who are interested in having shows. And of course, I respect and appreciate the fact that people are interested. They have to be a good fit, and we have to be a good fit for them.
Okay. Now, you as the owner have been recognized in various things, Peace Ambassador, for instance, uh, partly because I guess of the exposure of the USA Global TV and Radio Network worldwide. But what's happened to you as an individual, as a business owner, as a person, to just share with the audience as a result of the last 5 years of your effort?
Thank you, Red. I feel like I finally found my voice as a patient with ulcerative colitis and somebody who was in corporate in a lot of male dominated industries. I really felt like I wasn't able to express myself. And I never, ever thought of myself as a creative person. I didn't think I had any creativity whatsoever. And so now I am just amazed at some of the things that I've come up with. And I shared with you just last month, I was in London and I went into a recording studio and recorded my first single, which is the song that you heard when I came out. And that to me was a dream come true. I always wanted to be a singer when I was a little girl, and people told me that I couldn't sing. And to know that I now have this single that's available for people to go on iTunes or Spotify or wherever they have downloads for music, that's pretty amazing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I never really was the captain of a team. And so with the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, I've been a captain of teams. But now, as the captain of this team and also someone who is doing this work as well, I have a completely different appreciation for what it's like for you, for example, to do 3 TV shows in a row. It's a lot of work. And especially when you're doing talking heads, you're the only one there. And so when I'm doing my show, I'm not saying every day this show because I'm trying to do it, but I'm traveling right now. But it's for to come up with relevant content that people can engage with. That takes work. So I'd have to say my main takeaway is that I have skills that I never knew that I had, and I had to have a voice that I didn't think anyone would ever be interested in listening to, and so that's all changed.
Yeah, I have difficulty every week coming up with a topic for talking heads, and sometimes it's Tuesday night and I don't have any idea in the world what I'm going to talk about, but I want to make it relevant. It's just not, I can rehash something I've talked about before. It's like this past week, there's a hormone in the body. I think it's a hormone. I'm pretty sure it is. 5-amino 1 Mike Quebec MQ that never heard of before. And then all of a sudden, oh, that's interesting. So I started doing some research. Whoa, that's interesting. And so I probably end up doing a show on that because it has such a widespread impact on the body with regard to health and wellness. But I have to figure out how am I going to take that one segment and make it into a 35, 40-minute show, and then keep it of interest. I don't want to dive down too far into the chemical end of things because that doesn't gain me anything anyway, because I'm not being able to pass on something that you could take to your doctor and say, hey doc, I heard about this. What do you think? So I have to kind of keep that between that. But I know you have something coming up, Elevated Listening in the Age of Misinformation, something about fake news. Let's talk about that for a few minutes.
Thank you, Red. I'm a peace ambassador, and I've taken my 3rd round of peace ambassador training. And the last round of training, which it was on Saturdays for 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, when I was in Greece, and it was, the time change. So I was very committed to it. It was all about recognizing the fact that people see something and they automatically believe that it's true. And then what they do is they forward it, or they like it, or they tag people on it, but they've never bothered to check and see if it's actually true. And just today on one of our earlier shows, one of our show hosts mentioned this saying, which is curiosity killed the cat. But what I didn't know was there's another part of that. Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back, something like that. And so someone might take curiosity killed the cat and just start spreading that around without the rest of the story. And so what we were challenged to do in the Peace Ambassador training was to actually find social media posts of people that we know and determine whether or not it was accurate or it was fake. And in the cases that I submitted, it was absolutely only part of the story. And so what I found is people get so emotionally charged about something that they don't bother to check and see if the information is true. And one of the stories that was shared was about this military officer in another country. She was wearing a uniform and she was standing in front of a plane, and that she had been in this plane that had dropped bombs on this hospital. And so when you really started to dive in on it, the insignia on her uniform was fake. The logo on the plane was upside down, and the hospital had never been bombed. So people have been sharing this and spreading this, and you could see the posts that people were getting angrier and angrier, and it was fake. So what I decided was for myself, and you may have seen the email that I sent out, I feel like it's incumbent upon all of us, especially those of us who are public figures, to actually make sure what we're putting out there is fake. So that it's real, that it's not fake, that we actually have at least 3 reference points to determine whether or not it's true. And people might say, well, who has time to do that? Well, you have time to share it. You have time to like it. Why don't you have the time to determine whether or not it's true? And by the way, this is what I'm talking about. I think this is interesting, and I don't usually do this. We're getting comments from people that are really filled with comments that are not true, they're not necessary, and they're not kind. And this is what I'm talking about. So for you there who are posting negativity that has nothing to do with us here, but other things, do you have anything more important to do? Because what you're putting out there is attached to your name, to your account. So people will see that you are angry, that you are violent, that you are filled with hatred. And so for me, this is not something that I'm going to tolerate on this platform. So what I've done is I've put together a course, and the course is called Elevated Listening in the Age of Misinformation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the tools. There are actually tools out there that you can use to determine whether or not news is fake or if it's authentic. And so you'll learn the difference between misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. So this is going to be February the 2nd from 10 to 12. And we do have the Eventbrite link if you're interested in attending. And it's really for everyone and anyone, because as we start 2026, why not start from a position of peace? So even though there are those who are angry that are out there, this is an opportunity for you to actually look into how can you be a peaceful person.
Now, I write on health and wellness a lot, and the standard of care in the United States is very specific. And so if I suggest a mechanism that may help a person with a problem and it's not within that standard of care, that can be construed as fake news because it's not recognized, even though there's a lot of evidence that says, yes, it works, but it's not within the standard of care. So sometimes there's other restrictions that you have to say, this is for awareness and education. Now it's fine because it's outside of the realm. Believe me, this is absolutely true. So here's if I want to drink 5 bottles of this every day for 2 weeks and your cancer's gone. No, that's fake news. But depending on how you want to, my testimonial is my belief. This is what happened to me. That's not fake news. That's what happened to that person. But so the fake news has so many different tentacles out there that if you end up with that much truth to make it seem, let me tell the world this thing, I believe it. And boom, it's there. I mean, I've had people come back to me on some of my posts, not often, but periodically. And I can say once, twice a year, and they'll say, this is absolutely fake. And I check it out, and sure enough, it is. And I just take it off of my post. But it's not something that I would go check anyway. It was somebody who made a very good video of something with AI or who knows what. And it looked good. It sounded good. I thought it was worth sharing. It was a good feeling for that. So I think people have that, but then, as you say, it gets abused.
Absolutely. Well, I'll just share a quick story. At one point, my ankles were swollen, and I took myself to the emergency room, and they run all of these tests. And of course, I got the tests back before the doctors did because I was still waiting. I was on a gurney in the middle of the hallway. And so I start looking up on Google, I have this, and this symptom. And of course, I was dying. It was like the end of the world. And it turns out that none of that was actually true. So I'd really caution people, even what you see on Google doesn't necessarily mean it's true, because it's not necessarily peer reviewed. So when I went for my doctorate, I was triangulating this data. There were 3 different points of reference. So you can't just take everything at face value that you read. You actually have to go and determine, is this true? Is it verifiably true?
Dr. Jacalyn, here's a fun question for you. What do you do for fun?
I work out. In fact, my newest thing, I didn't get to tell you about this. I'm doing something called the sled, and they have this, you know what a sled is, and it's got 45-pound plates on there. So the other day when I went to the gym, I've been going back and forth to 2 different gyms that are here, and there was 550 pounds on there. So I had already worked out, and then I decided to see, can I push it? Because I was pushing 500 pounds, and I did that back and forth, back and forth. And this extra, the extra pounds on there, that was really a challenge. So I did it twice. And then I went over to one of the treadmills that you can put on sled mode. And so what I've been doing is I'm alternating between walking, running, and sled mode and lifting weights. So that's what I do for fun. And the other thing I do for fun is I create new things. I just like creating new opportunities, redoing the website, whatever it might be.
One of the things I remember you were intense about was planks. And tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, I am a solid core devotee. So if you've never heard of solid core, you can look it up, solidcore.co, not com, but co. And it's only in the United States at the moment, but I think they're expanding. And a lot of the workout, at least for the core part, in some way or another, is based on doing a plank. And so I was planking up until I hurt my hands, and it hasn't really recovered the way I'd like it to. But I do planks, but I had gotten up to, I think, 23 minutes straight arm plank. And so now I do planks all the time. And by Saturday or Sunday, I'll be at my 1100th class with solid core. So I'm pretty excited about that. And the plank is the crux of the whole thing.
So for those people who don't know what a plank is, tell us.
So a plank is a great way for you to strengthen your core, and your core is not just your abs, it's your obliques, it's around the back. So you can either do it on your elbows or you can go on your hands. So if you go on your elbows and then as you build up your strength, you might have to start on your knees, maybe in a what would have been a push-up position if you were on your hands. And then you can actually, as you get stronger, you can go on your toes. So it can be toes and elbows or toes and hands. And so you keep your back at a certain level. You don't want your back too high or too low. And then you hold that. And eventually, the longer you hold it, your body starts shaking and you realize that you are getting to 2nd stage muscle failure, which means you technically are getting stronger.
So if I were to say, I get in a position to do a push-up and I go all the way up to the top and I come down, but I don't touch the bottom, I'm somewhere in between. That's kind of the position that you're in for a plank.
Well, you're either on your elbows, or if you're on your hands, you have a slight bend in your elbow, but you're not coming down to a push-up. It's either a straight arm plank or you're on your forearms.
Any other exercise that you like to psycho out on?
Well, I've also been doing farmer's carries, which is really good for your strength. So a farmer's carry is where you pick up 2 dumbbells and then you have very straight posture and then you walk. And so from everything I've read, if you want to be able to hold on to things, your grip strength as you get older is really important. And of course, your posture. So you take your weight, and this is from what I've read. Okay. I'm not a medical expert, so please check with your doctor. Disclaimer. But you take 70% of your weight and then you divide that by 2, and then you have 1 dumbbell or kettlebell in each hand. So I never did this before, and I started out with 20 pounds. Then I moved to 25 pounds. Then I moved to 30 pounds, and now I'm at 35 pounds. And this is, of course, after I've already exercised. And so I will walk. I'll set my watch, and then I'll pick up the dumbbells. And sometimes that's the hardest part because my nails are so long. So it's hard to get a real firm grip. and then I'll walk. And so my goal is 2 minutes. And so I made the 2 minutes with the 35 pounds after I already did the 25, maybe 5 different times. So my goal will be 40 pounds, and then that's the end.
That's the end for January 2nd.
That's right, exactly.
Dr. Jacalyn, how do people get in touch with you? How do they how do they get on your shows? How do they become a TV host? What are some of the things that they need to know about?
Well, first of all, they can go to our websites, and I'm producing a show, so I'm looking for the banner. Okay, the website's usaglobaltv.com, and also my own personal website is drjacalyn.com, and that's where I have all of my coaching information, my courses, my keynote speaking opportunities, the areas that I'm proficient in. And you can always email me at drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com. And as I mentioned, we are actively looking for TV show hosts who can speak a foreign language. And if you're interested, you would come here to our website to Elite Host Certification Program, and then you can contact us, and then we'll be in touch for further conversation.
Okay, you have classes that you hold online, coaching weekly. You have other things that you do. What kind of services do you, as Dr. Jacalyn, offer, and USA Global TV and Radio Network?
So people can come here to drjacalyn.com. We actually have a retreat coming up June 3rd to the 6th. And here is all the information. You can join our members only. If you're interested in producing your own music, the master classes that I have, the courses, the listening retreat, and so much more.
Dr. Jacalyn, it's been an absolute pleasure. 2 shows back to back. And I have to say, I've known you now for a number of years, and we talk quite often. And there's always things that pop up that I didn't know that. Okay, that's interesting. And so I'm just continual learning mode. And I think that's what you're in all the time also.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here. And if anyone's interested, I'd love for you to download my music. Some people have subscriptions on Apple. You can actually get it for free as part of your package, or it's 99 cents. And it's called Please Listen to What I Say on iTunes as well as on Spotify.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. I look forward to catching you again next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Red O'Loughlin here on the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. My guest today was Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, the owner, founder, and chief listening mentor for the network. My show coming up in about 19 minutes is called Accidental Aging. It's on Talking Heads. This is about the quiet decisions that shorten our life that we make every day. We don't even know about it. There's a lot of things. There's so many things we don't know that we don't know. And so my job and part of my program on Talking Heads is to let's find out a little bit about what we don't know. So that being said, I want to be able to say Happy New Year again, and I look forward to seeing you all in just a few minutes. Take care now. Bye.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio, and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. KERBECK's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations.
Nestled in the heart of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Horseshoe Farm has always been more than a destination. It's a living, breathing reflection of community, connection, and transformation. Once a humble family farmstead, it has evolved over the years to become a sanctuary for travelers, seekers, families, and friends alike. Originally reimagined by the Turchin family as an Airbnb property, The farm began its journey into hospitality with simple roots, welcoming guests to experience the beauty and peace of the sacred land. As word spread and the vision deepened, the property organically blossomed into a boutique resort, rooted in the values of slow living, intentional experiences, and the magic of gathering. Today, the Horseshoe Farm is a 90-acre experiential retreat that merges hospitality, wellness, and culinary excellence. It is home to the Stable Spa, the Silo Cookhouse, distinctive lodging options, and a curated calendar of events that nourish mind, body, and spirit. Our guest experience is designed to be both grounding and expansive, where the comforts of luxury meet with the simplicity of nature. At its core, the Horseshoe Farm is about transformation of land, of self, and of community. We are proud of where we've come from. We are confident in who we are today and excited for the road ahead. Hello, I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, also known as the Listening Mentor and President and Founder of USA Global TV and Radio. I had the opportunity, the pleasure of attending a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm just recently. I was so impressed with all of the opportunities that were presented to me in this glorious setting, as well as the highest level of customer service, that I've decided to put together a retreat at the Horseshoe Farm in Hendersonville, North Carolina, United States of America, June 3rd through the 6th, 2026. You can expect to have a beautiful time of relaxation combined with learning, community, collaboration. Do consider joining me in this wonderful opportunity to reconnect with yourself, with others, and with nature. For more information, email me at drjacalyn@usaglobaltv.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.